They had never feared anything, not in thousands of years. The untouchable race ruled the stars with power that no one could match. They moved through the galaxy like kings. Their ships were the biggest, their weapons the strongest. No enemy had ever dared to challenge them, and if they did, they were quickly destroyed. The stars seemed quiet and calm wherever the untouchables went. Other species whispered about them in fear, telling stories of how they crushed entire fleets with ease. Their names were enough to make even the bravest hide or run. The untouchables were proud. They believed no one could stand against them. No one was dangerous enough. On the edge of the galaxy, their great fleet floated near a strange planet. It was a quiet place, small and unimportant. But something about it caught their attention. Their leaders talked in low voices about a new signal. It was weak, but clear, a message from an unknown ship. "What is this?" the fleet commander asked. He was tall and strong, with eyes that had seen many battles. He stared at the glowing screen that showed the signal's path. "No known ships from this region. It must be a mistake." "No mistake," another officer said. "It comes from a human ship." The commander laughed. "Humans, those weak, small creatures, they could never be a threat to us. We have crushed far bigger enemies." The others nodded. The untouchables had heard of humans before, but only as a minor species on a small planet. They thought humans were simple and weak. It was hard to imagine that humans could send a ship this far, let alone one that could threaten them. Still, curiosity grew. The signal was unusual. It came from a ship unlike any they had seen. It moved fast and was quiet. The human ship showed no fear. It was a message. "We are here." The untouchables decided to send a scout ship to investigate. The scout was fast and small, designed to sneak close without being noticed. As the scout approached the human ship, the crew inside watched, silently. The human warship was dark but strong, filled with strange machines and weapons. It looked dangerous. The scout sent back images. The untouchables' leaders studied them carefully. The ship was unlike anything they had seen. It was not huge like their own fleet, but it seemed tough and well-made. The humans had built something special. The commander smiled again. "They think they can scare us with one ship? We will show them what true power is." The next day, the untouchables' fleet moved closer. Their massive warships surrounded the human ship. The humans did not run. They did not send messages asking for help. They simply waited. A silent tension filled the space between the two forces. The untouchable soldiers prepared for battle, their weapons charged and ready. The humans remained calm. It was strange to see such quiet in the face of danger. Suddenly, the human ship sent a signal. It was a warning, a challenge. The message was clear. "Do not come closer, or you will face destruction." The untouchables laughed. The commander said, "Empty threats from weak beings. We will show them what it means to be powerful." The first shots were fired. Huge beams of energy flew from the untouchables' ships toward the human warship. The beams hit, but the human ship did not break. Instead, it moved quickly, dodging attacks in a way no one expected. The human ship fired back. Small, but deadly, weapons struck the untouchables' fleet. Some ships took damage. The untouchables were surprised. No one had ever dared fight back like this. The battle continued for hours. The human warship used strange tactics. It was smart, quick, and deadly. The untouchables realized this was not an easy enemy. The commander ordered his fleet to retreat. "We must learn more about these humans before we attack again," he said. The untouchables had never faced a challenge like this. Their confidence was shaken. They had always been the strongest. Now they saw something new, something dangerous. Back on the human ship, the captain stood tall. He looked out at the retreating fleet with calm eyes. They thought nothing could scare them, but now they know. The humans had sent a warning to the galaxy. They were not weak. They were not simple. They were dangerous, and anyone who ignored that would pay the price. For the untouchables, the war had just begun. They would have to change how they fought. The humans were unlike any enemy before. They were something new, a force to be feared. They never expected the humans to act like this. After the first encounter, the untouchables had gone back to their massive ships, confused and uneasy. Their pride was shaken, but their curiosity was stronger. Who were these humans, and why did they not run like others before? The human ship stayed silent for days, drifting near the border of their territory. It did not attack, it did not ask for peace. It simply waited, watching, as if it knew something the untouchables did not. The aliens found this strange. Most enemies would try to hide or talk, but humans showed no fear. It was as if they were waiting for the untouchables to make the next move. The untouchable leaders called a meeting in their giant command ship. They needed to decide what to do next. The room was filled with voices, some angry, some worried, but all confused. The commander spoke with a strong voice. "We have never met an enemy like this. We must send a team to learn more. Maybe they have weaknesses we can find." A group of elite scouts was chosen. These scouts were the best fighters and the smartest minds in the fleet. They would approach the human ship in a small, fast vessel. Their mission was to gather information, not to fight. As the scouts neared the human warship, they noticed something unusual. The ship was bigger than it looked from far away. Its surface was covered with strange panels that shimmered in the light. The ship moved smoothly and quietly, like a predator waiting for the right moment. The scouts tried to send a message, but the humans did not respond. Instead, the human ship opened a small door, and a smaller vessel came out. It was sleek and fast, with lights glowing softly on its surface. The humans wanted to meet face to face. The scout leader felt a mix of fear and excitement. This was a rare chance to learn about the humans. They moved closer, and the small human vessel met them halfway. The two ships floated side by side in space. Through the windows, the scouts saw humans inside. They were smaller than the aliens, but their eyes were sharp and full of confidence. The human captain spoke calmly. "We do not want war. We want to warn you." The scout leader frowned. "Warn us? About what?" The human captain's voice was steady. "Your people believe no one can challenge you, but the galaxy is changing. New powers are rising. We are here to remind you that strength comes in many forms." The scouts listened carefully. The humans spoke about their history, a history full of struggles, but also courage and growth. They talked about how they had learned to survive and protect what they cared about. The humans were not just fighters, they were thinkers and planners. As the meeting ended, the humans sent one last message. "We do not want to destroy. We want to protect. But if pushed, we will defend ourselves." Scouts returned to their fleet with mixed feelings. They had seen the humans up close and understood their strength. The untouchables were no longer sure they were the most powerful. They had to prepare for what might come. Back on the human ship, the captain looked out at the stars. He knew this was only the beginning. The humans had sent a warning, but the real test was still ahead. The galaxy was watching, and soon everyone would know that humans were a force to be respected. The silence in space was heavy. Both sides waited, ready for the next move. The tension grew with every passing moment. No one knew what the future held, but one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same again. The human warship moved with quiet confidence through the dark reaches of space. It was more than just a ship. It was a symbol of a new power rising in the galaxy, one that others had underestimated for too long. The untouchables still thought they were the strongest, but now doubts crept in. The humans held secrets, and those secrets could change everything. Inside the warship, the captain stood before a large glowing map. The ship's technology was unlike anything the untouchables had ever seen. Its systems were smart, almost alive, adjusting to every situation with speed and precision. The ship's core thrummed gently, a sign of endless energy ready to be unleashed if needed. This was no ordinary vessel. It was built with care and purpose. The captain's voice was calm as he explained to his crew, "Our strength is not just in weapons. It is in knowledge and strategy and in how we use what we have. The untouchables do not understand this yet. They think power is size and noise, but true power lies in control. The crew listened, knowing their captain was right. They had trained for this moment, a moment when humans would no longer hide in the shadows of the galaxy, but step forward as equals, even challengers. The captain tapped a control, and a small drone floated into the room. This is one of our many tools. It can scout, gather information, and even repair parts of the ship without us needing to leave. Far away, the Untouchables' ships watched the human warship carefully. Their leader was growing restless. Why have they not attacked? Again? What are they planning? He asked his advisors. No one had an answer. The humans were unpredictable, and that made them dangerous. Suddenly, a new message arrived from the human ship. It was not a threat, but an offer. The humans proposed a meeting, a chance to talk face to face and find out if there was a way to avoid conflict. This surprised the Untouchables. They had always expected war with any new enemy, not talks. The commander agreed to the meeting, sending his own delegation to the human ship. The two groups met in a neutral space station, a place designed to keep peace and allow conversation. The humans arrived first, their calm presence filling the room. The Untouchables followed, their expressions serious but curious. The talks began with silence, both sides unsure what to expect. Then the human captain spoke. "We do not seek to destroy you. We know strength is not only about power but also about respect and understanding." The Untouchable leader frowned. "Respect? From us? You are small and your reach is limited." The captain smiled slightly. "Size is not what matters. It is what you do with what you have. Our history is full of challenges. We have learned to survive by being smart and working together." The conversation grew deeper. Humans shared stories of their past, of times when they were weak but never gave up. They spoke of the importance of alliances and trust. The Untouchables listened, some with disbelief, others with growing respect. As the meeting ended, both sides realized something important. They could choose to fight and lose much, or they could try to learn from each other and find a way forward. The human captain left with a clear message. "We are here. We are strong. And we will not back down." The Untouchables returned to their ships, changed in a way they could not yet understand. The galaxy was no longer simple or quiet. The humans had arrived, and they carried with them a future full of possibility and danger. The stars shone brightly, but the peace was fragile. Both sides waited for what would come next, knowing the story was far from over. The silence after the talks was deeper than anyone expected. The Untouchables returned to their fleet with many questions. Their confidence was shaken. They had met humans face to face, heard their stories, and seen their courage. The humans were different from any species they had known. They were not just fighters. They were survivors, thinkers, and builders. The human warship stayed near the border, not attacking but watching. It was a quiet challenge, like a tiger waiting in the grass. The Untouchables' commanders felt the weight of that quietness. It was unsettling. They were used to loud battles and clear victories, not this tense waiting game. Inside the human ship, the crew worked with calm focus. They repaired, upgraded, and prepared. The captain walked through the halls, his step steady. "They think we are weak," he told his officers, "but we are ready for whatever comes next. Strength is not just about fighting. It is about being ready." The humans used their time wisely. They studied the Untouchables' movements, learned their patterns, and found small openings in their defenses. Their ship was smaller but faster. It could move like a shadow and strike where the enemy did not expect. The Untouchables decided to test the humans again. They sent a fleet to a nearby star system, one that was important for trade and travel. The humans received the message instantly. The captain called his crew. "This is our chance. We will not hide. We will show them that humans are not afraid." The human warship moved quickly toward the star system. The untouchables were already there, waiting. Their large ships formed a wall across the stars, blocking the way. The humans slowed down, but did not stop. They sent a message. "We want peace, but we will defend our right to be here." The untouchables replied, "You do not belong here. Leave or face the consequences." The tension grew. The stars around them seemed to hold their breath. The humans knew this moment was important. They were not just fighting for space. They were fighting for respect, for a place in the galaxy. Suddenly, the human ship's lights changed color. Its engines hummed louder, and it moved forward with new strength. It was a signal. The humans were ready to defend themselves, but not to start a fight. The untouchables watched closely. They had never seen a ship act like this. It was like the humans were saying, "We are here. We will not run." Then something unexpected happened. Small ships came out from the human warship. They were not weapons but scouts and helpers. They moved toward the untouchables' fleet, showing no fear. The untouchables' commanders were puzzled. Why would the humans send small ships so close? Were they trying to trick them? Or was this a sign of something else? The humans' message became clear. They wanted to talk again, to find another way. They showed respect but also strength. They were ready to defend their rights, but hoped for peace. The untouchables were at a crossroads. They could choose war and risk everything, or they could try to understand this strange, fearless race called humans. As the stars twinkled in the dark sky, the galaxy waited. The humans had made their stand. The untouchables had to decide what to do next. The story was far from over. The next move could change the future of many worlds. The quiet between the stars felt heavier now. The untouchables were no longer sure what to expect. The humans had shown something new, a calm strength that was hard to understand. The silence was filled with questions, and both sides watched carefully, waiting for what might come next. Inside the human ship, the captain gathered his crew once more. "This is a test of patience," he said softly. "We do not want conflict, but we will not back down either. Our goal is to prove that humans belong here not through force but through wisdom and courage." The crew nodded, understanding the importance of their mission. They were ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. Meanwhile, the untouchables held their own meetings, their pride struggling with doubt. The humans were strange. They did not act like typical enemies. They fought, yes, but they also spoke of peace and respect. The untouchable leader paced the command room, deep in thought. "We have never met a race like this before. Their power is not just in their ships, but in their will. We must be careful." The humans began sending messages not as threats, but as invitations. They offered to share knowledge, to open paths for trade and cooperation. Many in the untouchable fleet were suspicious, but some were curious. Perhaps there was a chance for something new, a way beyond endless conflict. On one quiet night, the humans opened a communication channel with the untouchables. The message was simple but powerful. "We seek understanding. Let us find a way to build together, not fight forever." The untouchable leader surprised many by responding, "We accept your offer. Let us meet again, not as enemies, but as neighbors." The meeting was arranged in a neutral place, a massive space station far from either side's home worlds. When both parties arrived, the atmosphere was tense but hopeful. The humans spoke of their history, their struggles, and their dreams. They shared stories of unity and survival against great odds. The untouchables listened, some skeptical, others moved. The untouchables shared their own tales of pride and strength. They spoke of their desire to protect their people and their way of life. Slowly, the walls between them began to lower. During the talks, the humans demonstrated some of their technology. Not weapons, but tools for healing, communication, and exploration. The untouchables were impressed. These were gifts of knowledge, not destruction. Days passed and the talks continued. Both sides found common ground in their hopes for peace and growth. They agreed to open trade routes and share some scientific knowledge. It was a new beginning, fragile but real. Back on the Seek human ship, the captain smiled quietly. We have taken the first step. The galaxy is vast and many challenges remain, but this is the start of something greater. The Untouchables returned home with new ideas and new respect. They still had much to learn about humans, but now they saw them as potential partners, not just rivals. As the stars shone overhead, both sides looked toward the future. It was uncertain, but filled with promise. The story of humans and the Untouchables was no longer just about power. It was about hope, change, and the chance to build something better together. The journey was far from over, but a new chapter had begun. The galaxy had never been quieter or more full of tension. After months of talks and careful steps toward peace, the future still felt uncertain. Both humans and the Untouchables knew the road ahead was not easy. But something had changed deep, inside both races, a new understanding, fragile but real. The human warship continued to hover near the border, no longer a threat but a symbol of possibility. Inside, the captain stood on the bridge, watching distant stars twinkle like silent watchers. "This is the moment we have waited for," he told his crew. "Not a battle, but a chance to prove that trust can grow even in the darkest space." The crew felt the weight of his words. They had trained for war, but now they prepared for a different kind of mission, one of patience, dialogue, and hope. Far away, the Untouchables gathered once more in their grand command ship. Their leader spoke with a voice softened by months of reflection. "We have seen the courage of humans not only in battle but in peace. This is new for us. It will test our strength in ways we have never known." The ships moved slowly, carefully, toward the agreed meeting place. This time, it was not a neutral station but a shared new world, an uninhabited planet between their territories. Both sides wanted to show commitment by meeting on ground neither had claimed before. As the humans landed their smaller ships on the planet's surface, the Untouchables watched from their hovering vessels. The air was thin but breathable, and the rocky terrain was quiet and still. The two groups met under the pale light of a distant sun. The human captain stepped forward first, extending a hand. The Untouchable leader hesitated, then accepted. It was a simple gesture, but it carried the weight of centuries of fear and distrust. The talks on the planet were long and careful. They spoke of their fears, their hopes, and the future they wanted to create. The humans shared stories of their struggles and victories, not just as warriors but as builders of communities and peace. The Untouchables shared their pride and fears, their desire to protect their people and ways, but also their growing hope that cooperation might be possible. Together, they explored ideas of joint missions, cultural exchanges, and shared technology for exploration and healing. The humans offered knowledge of how to live in harmony with new worlds, while the Untouchables shared their skills in starship design. As days turned to weeks, the two sides began to trust each other. They planted seeds of friendship that could grow into something strong. The galaxy watched silently, aware that this moment could change everything. Back on the human ship, the captain looked at the stars again, thinking about how far they had come. "We have faced the unknown and found hope," he said quietly. "This is the future we will build, not alone, but together." The Untouchables, too, felt a shift within themselves. The fear that once ruled was slowly replaced by curiosity and respect. The story of humans and the Untouchables was no longer one of rivalry, but of possibility. As the sun set on the new world, both sides knew the journey ahead would still hold challenges. But now they faced it with something stronger than weapons or ships: trust. The galaxy was vast, full of mystery and wonder. And for the first time, humans and Untouchables were ready to explore it side by side. The story was far from over. It was only just beginning.